Bismillah. Hello, Bismillah, Bismillah. Hello, hello. Test, test
Testing,
mic, testing, testing,
testing, testing.
testing, testing.
Ada.
Dengar. Hello, Bismillah. Ada.
Testing, testing.
Testing. Down. Hello, hello.
Test. Boleh boleh. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. Okay, distinguished guests, respected lecturers, and fellow colleagues, welcome to today's knowledge sharing session entitled Strategizing FYP for High Impact Publication. We are truly delighted to have your presence today. This program is organized to equip with valuable insight on how to transform final year project outcomes into impactful publication that can contribute not only to academic knowledge but also to advancement of society. Okay. For your information, this event is organized and brought to you by Research and Innovation Office, Faculty of Mechanical Engineering. To begin our program with blessing, I would like to invite everyone to join me in reciting a short dua. For our Muslim participant, can you raise your hand in prayer? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Ya Allah, we seek your mercy and guidance. Grant us beneficial knowledge, clarity in thought, and sincerity in our action. Bless this program with success, and may today's sharing inspire us to strive for excellence in our studies and research. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Thank you everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for today, Dr. Al Hassan, who will be sharing his expertise on strategizing final project towards high impact publication. Okay. Dr. Al Hassan Salami Tijani had his PhD in 2010 in process engineering from Brandenburg Technical University, Cottbus, Germany. His master in energy system from Aachen University of Applied Sciences, Germany, and diploma in mine mechanical engineering from Ghana, from Ghana. Yeah. Currently, Dr. Al Hassan is a senior lecturer of mechanical engineering at UITM, and he's also an associate member of Solar Research Institute, UITM Shalam. He joined the university in 2011 and subsequently served the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering from 2013 to 2016 as the course coordinator for Thermodynamics 2. Dr. Al Hassan Salami Tijani has been lecturing on thermodynamics, thermal engineering, and computational fluid mechanics, which happen to be his areas of research interest, and has published more than 40 technical papers in journals and conference proceedings locally and internationally. He has served Faculty of Mechanical Engineering Management team at various levels, such as conference organizing team member and coordinator for laboratory accreditation and participation in students' activities. The main focus of Dr. Al Hassan research is computational and modeling of energy system, heat transfer enhancement for efficient electronic cooling, renewable hydrogen technology, polymer electrolyzer membrane technology, heat and mass transport, solar energy application, and energy conversion. Due to his expertise and experience, he has been appointed as a judge in design competition, external examiner, panel evaluator, visiting researcher, and a member in various technical committees at national and international level. This year alone, Alhamdulillah, he has published 3 Q1 papers. Okay. Um, so, with his vast knowledge and experience, okay, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Al Hassan to deliver his talk. Okay, Dr. Al Hassan, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Dr. Manaf, for the introduction. I'm very grateful indeed. Distinguished guests, the audience, respectable professors, doctors, associate professors, fellow colleagues, I'm honored today to share with you just a few knowledge that I have and towards bringing our students and publishing high impact papers. Before I start, I would like to thank the organizing committee, especially PM, Dr. Irni, and then Dr. Maria, for their enormous effort in seeing to it that this program is successful. I really thank them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them abundantly. Yes, thank you very much. So the topic for today, I'm going to share how we can nurture our students towards a high impact publication, guiding them towards research publications. And the topic for today is going to how you can strategize your student so that at the end of the FYP2, we'll be able to have the research result should be driven towards a high impact publication. So my name is Al Hassan Salam Tijani. Okay, so I've been just like Dr. Manaf said, I've been serving UITM for almost 15 years now, and he has given details about me. So later on, if there's anything, you can contact me through my email address or my contact number. Now, what motivates me to publish or go into high impact publication? So as a new researcher, when I joined UITM, it was a bit challenge for me to get research grant. Okay, so after so many trials, well, alhamdulillah, I got research grant. But before then, since there was no research grant, and I was looking at other opportunities by which I can use my time in publishing high impact papers. So it crossed my mind that, yes, to publish a paper, you need experiment. And to get an experimental setup, you need a research grant. Probably you may need also a postgraduate student to help you in your research. But if the grant is not forthcoming, so you cannot just sit down and then fold your arms. So this motivated me to move into simulation, computational simulation. So I started looking into journals. So what are the trends towards high impact journals? So it crossed my, I realized that, let's say out of 20 high impact journals, almost about more than 50% are simulation based. So it struck my mind that, so why not me also? So I can also publish. So if I don't have any experiment, why not? So I can also try. So this is what motivated me into going into computational simulation. So now my first FYP, final year project publication, alhamdulillah, that was in 2018. So I was able to publish 2 Q1 papers from FYP. So I'm going to share with you today, so how especially the junior lecturers can also emulate this, okay? In case you do not have any, research grant, you can still make it. So now, publishing, as you all know, as a lecturer or a researcher, is one of the key KPIs, okay, which the university is looking forward to. And not only that, so when you publish, and you sometimes your ideas is well received by the public. And what is the indicator for that? So the indication is high impact or citation. Okay, so since 2018, so this is the first Q1 paper I published has received a very high acceptance by the public. Okay, so these are some of the motivation. Now, how do we go ahead? How do we start? Okay, the journey towards publication. So one of the secrets is that we have to read. And if you have the passion, the desire to publish in Q1 papers, you have to read Q1 papers. So that is the secret behind it. And then identify the gaps. So normally, I do not wait for my students to come and then identify the gap for the research. So maybe a semester or 2 semesters before, I flip into various publications related to my field and then identify potential gaps. So through these potential gaps, I'm able to formulate my title. So it is already predefined in my mind what I expect from the students, the outcome from the students. Okay, so I first introduce my students to read also, okay, and then I encourage them to go through the UITM library, so where they can have free access to most literatures, high impact journals, okay. And as a lecturer, it is also very important that we should, avail ourselves for a very important service, such as reviewing. We need to review papers related to our field, especially high impact journals. Okay, so maybe I'll demonstrate a little bit how you can get invitation from high impact journals. You only need to go to reviewers. Yes, so this is the web page which I've already opened. Okay, so when you type reviewers hub, okay, so it is free. You can just, it is from a Sylvia. Okay, so all that you need to do is that, and this is my page. So I've been reviewing for a lot of a lot of journals in my field. So the current one is applied thermal engineering. Okay, so if you want to avail yourself as a reviewer for high impact journal, just go to volunteer. Okay, and then you can type. Let me see. Yes, so these are the various journals that I have already, applied for. So they will send you invitation for review. So please accept it and then do critical reviewing. So when you do first, second, third review, you'll become part of the team. You understand? And so how do we start? You can just type, let's say if your field is energy, and then you click on search. So here, this is energy. Then if you want this, let's say you are a specialist in energy and building. So just go to review and then select. So either I'm expert in the field, prestigious, you want to review for this journal or have previously published in this journal. So whatever is applicable to you, you just select. So for example, I'm expert in the field. And then you have to select which area of your field you are expert in. Okay, so just for example, and then you click confirm. So when you do this, this information will go to the editor, and then within some few days you will receive invitation for publication. Sorry, invitation for reviewing. So then through this effort, I think if you do reviewing for, let's say, for a quite long of time, you will have experience in what are the needs for a Q1 paper, okay? And the benefit of reviewing these papers, sometimes you get, or most of the time, you get 30-day free access. Okay, then you get new knowledge in the field, and you get updated with the latest trend. And this helps you in organizing your research ideas. Okay, so like I mentioned before, so these two papers are my own papers. Okay, so normally I go through the journals related to my area, identify the gaps before I meet the students. Okay, for example, charge transfer coefficient was published in PM electrolyzer, but I discovered that this same method has not been applied in alkaline electrolysis. So I just use this as my FYP title. Okay, so based on this information, I go through thoroughly literature reviewing, look at the equations related to charge transfer coefficient. Okay, then alhamdulillah, so I'm able to publish this particular paper as well. Okay, so the same thing, you see, publishing is all about reading, making your personal research. Okay, so my recent publication in applied thermal engineering also came as a result of looking at different journals. Okay, so I study, my area is more on electronic cooling. Okay, and then renewable hydrogen energy. Okay, so if you look over here, and this publisher, okay, was using this heat sink as a cooling medium or thermal management for an electronic gadget. So me and my students, we read thoroughly, go through this paper, and then we discovered that there are some weaknesses in the paper. And based on this weakness, we came out with a very important title. And then my student conducted simulation on this. Okay, and then we came out with a new model, a new design, which was highly improved. Okay, and alhamdulillah, we are able to publish also in applied thermal engineering. So normally at the beginning of the semester, so for the FYP1 students, what I do is that I pair them. So let's say if I have 4 students, and two pairs will be given similar topic. Okay, so during the meeting, so I will invite all those 2 students. Okay, so I pair them because we do not have time to be, meeting the students one-on-one. So there are sometimes I meet all of them. There are sometimes I pair them. And there are sometimes also I meet them one-on-one. Okay, so this is the schedule for the semester. All right, so both FYP1 and FYP2. Okay, so time is also allotted for postgraduate students. So when I get a title, I just give to the students, and they are interested, they take. If not, then I look for other students. Now, there is one thing also I would like to mention over here. There are some students, our students, and some of them, they just want to pass through the system. And there's also, they are interested in learning. So don't overburden the students. So those who have the desire, the passion to study, to do more work, you just give them time. Though you apportion time for equally for all of them. But based on the output from each student, you should accept whatever result they give and don't overburden them. Okay, so maybe out of 4 students, you may see that one of the students is very, very, has a passion for what you are teaching, he or she. Okay, so again, another very important, which I would like to advise my colleagues, is that we should use a credible referencing, method. So Mendeley is widely used. So there are other referencing tools also which is available. Okay, so what I do to my students is that I create a group in Mendeley. So even when the student finish and he goes away, still I can receive or have access to all the publications. And there is no limitation as to how much papers you can put in this Mendeley. Okay, so if time will permit me, I can show you an example. So you have to register in Mendeley website. They have the website and then the Mendeley web desktop. So when you do this, you see that you invite the students. When you invite the students, when the students accept the invitation, then you will give the name. Let's say FYP1 2025. Okay, for my new student. Okay, this is the Mendeley website. So now I'll put the student email address in this column. If there are 6 students, you can put all the 6 students. So you have maximum of 25, okay, students in a group. So this is very, very important, because sometimes when the student pass out through the system and it goes away, then the lecturer is worried. How do I get access to the what do you call it, the reference materials? Okay, so but with this you will be able to trace and get all the information that is needed for you to proceed with your writing. Okay, so and the first batch of the FYP1, I just allow them to do registration on the Mendeley website, and then we proceed. So these are the, for example, Amisha Azuri. These are her publications in Mendeley. So I can see whatever information is there, she can also see. So this is just like a group, okay? And like I've mentioned, so the first day of meeting with the student, okay, so I asked them to download based on the title, okay? So just go to website, Elsevier or whatever website you think is important, but mostly I refer them to Elsevier website, okay, to download as many papers as they desire. So maybe up to 15 to 20, okay, papers. So, and then I show them how to name the papers, because they should name according to the titles. If you name just anyhow, then it is going to be difficult in future for you to trace a reference journal that you are interested in. Okay, so when they bring these papers, let's say out of, and they will upload everything in Mendeley. Okay, so we will cross-check to see which journal is appropriate. So just for screening purpose. So the journals that are related to the topic, we accept. Those that are not, we delete. Okay, so now the second stage of our meeting is that I invite the student one-on-one. Okay, oh sorry, yeah, based on grouping. Okay, so those in thermal engineering will come, okay, and then I'm going to give them detailed information about what they expect. So I go back to the theory, the theoretical background of the research. For example, a student on heat transfer or electronic cooling, so I'm going to guide him through the various methods of heat transfer, conduction, convection, radiation, and go a little bit into details, okay? So the reason why I'm doing this is that at the early stage, so when you start discussing the literature with them, then they realize, oh, this is the equation that my lecturer mentioned to me, conduction. So which is governed by Newton, sorry, we have Newton's law of cooling. Then we have Fourier's law of conduction. So all these equations will be clarified with the students, so that when you are discussing the papers with them, it becomes very easy, okay? And those students who, again, sometimes it's a mixed mode of both thermal and fluid mechanics. So I just go through some of the fluid mechanics topic with them: boundary layer theory, laminar turbulent flow, okay, Reynolds-Roman continuity equation, energy equation, and so on and so forth. Okay, so then those students on thermodynamics, or let's say if I give a title related to hydrogen electrolysis, so we basically focus on first law of thermodynamics. So this is the basic fundamentals which the students need. If you go straight away in discussing the literature with them, so they'll be blind. They will not understand what you are mentioning. You should allow them to you should make them understand the value, okay, of the equations, the outcome that you expect from them. Okay, thermal conductivity, heat transfer coefficient, Nusselt number, and so on. So explain in detail to them, and the significance of these parameters should be well addressed or known to the students. Okay, then this is where the difficult task starts. Okay, so for FYP1, we all know that they are supposed to submit only proposal. Okay, there is no any significant results. Okay, so what I will do is that based on their title, I invite them. So I invite them 2 pairs. So students who are on thermal engineering, so that they have similar topic, I invite them to come to my office, and then we go through the literature. We first of all start with introduction. Okay, so I let them know what is meant by problem statement. Okay, so by going through the papers with them, so they should know what is major problem statement, okay, or specific problem statement. So I go through them one by one, and then by the time I discuss about 2, 3, 4, let's say, certain number of times, they'll discover, oh, this is what problem, this is where, if I'm writing my proposal, this is where I should go to if I want to write problem statement. If I need, let's say, result from or the objective of a particular journal, this is where I have to go to. So they have the mindset already, so this is how the students should be, to the best of our ability, they should be brought up. Okay, and then the output of the literature review is that I make them make a table. This table is very important. From this table, you can identify your gap. Yes. So, and you have to help them. Now, one thing also is that you don't tell them, okay, you go and make a table like this and then come back. No, you should guide them. So what you expect from them? Maybe the first 3 content of the table, you should do it together with them. Okay, so the title, what it's supposed to be. Okay, so for example, in the thermal heat transfer, okay, the objective, okay, so the method of heat transfer, okay, and then what are the fluid, the cooling fluid, and then the research gap, okay, of that particular paper. So just discuss with them. And believe me, some of them are able to follow your advice. And then this is also another literature, okay, which I've also discussed with the student, identify the gaps, okay, and then also, so the output for FYP1 is given over here. So a summary of literature, okay. So from this you can identify the gap as well, okay. Then we have, now, after you have discussed a couple of literature with them, then they will realize, oh, okay, so you first of all ask them, based on these literatures that we have discussed, what kind of modification do you think we can come out with, a new design of a heat sink, okay, so that we can also use as our research, okay. So, but alhamdulillah, so some of the students, they are very corporate, so they're able to come out with a new design, okay. So this is fundamental, okay. The knowledge is gotten from a different research paper, okay, and then we make improvement, and this application is power stack cooling. That's the application for this particular heat sink, okay. So we go into details. The students use normally CATIA, okay, for sketching, or let's AutoCAD for design. All these are output of FYP1, okay. Similarly, if you compare, so this heat sink from this researcher, okay, Yon et al., okay, so similar thing has been done over here. So we came out with a new design with a new modification, okay, the heat transfer area was changed, and so on and so forth. We came out with a new design, and this is, we apply it to a power stack cooling, all right? Then when the student identify the scope of his simulation, this is very, very important. So just to, motivate the student, allow him to understand the job he's going to do. He should appreciate. So what is the heat sink? How is he going to apply it? So what is the appropriate design? That is very important, or that will be, and that can stand out from other heat sinks. Then, based on the fundamental equations that we discussed before, so I'll go through the journals with them again, look at the governing equations, let them understand the software they are going to use. So students on heat transfer use computational fluid dynamics. Okay, for thermodynamics, they can use MATLAB or Excel. Okay, so we have to point out important parameters to them. So the variables they are going to use, okay, so Reynolds number, turbulent or laminar flow medium, and so on. So all these equations need to be addressed with the student. And for electrolyzer also, so I go through the equations with them, okay, one by one for them to understand, okay, so that the modeling becomes very easy for them, okay? So these are basic equations related to electrolyzer, PM electrolyzer, and the same thing can be applied to alkaline electrolysis. Okay, so after, you see, the key point over here is identify the scope of your design work, the model design, the equations, the literature review. This should be done. Now, after you have done all this, then try to train the students on how to write proposal. Though even though I know the faculty has been doing this for the students, mostly on Fridays, right? Yes, but aside that also, we need to train the students for them to understand how to come out with a good proposal. Okay, so normally my students, I have a slide, consists about 30, 40 slides. So I just call all of them at a shot, and then I introduce them to how to write research proposal. Okay, and then so based on this information, then I'll ask them to present their proposal. Okay, so now the proposal should be start with all the informations that they have done since FYP1, like the CATIA design, the sketches, okay, the model equations, so the CFD mentioned, okay, so, and then they just try to write the first draft of the proposal, all right? Now, yes, this is very important also, very important information I would like to mention over here. My students, I don't restrict them to submit 13 pages, 14 pages, no. So I give them free flow. Free flow means whatever information you have since FYP1, please put everything in the paper. Don't delete, don't delete. So sometimes they say, but the FYP coordinator said I should submit 13 pages. I said, no problem, we will submit 13 pages. But first, follow my guidelines. So sometimes FYP1, they submit like 35 pages, 40 pages. So I say, okay, yes, proceed like that. Because the reference, minimum reference that sometimes I expect from the student, about 20, 25 references. So this reference alone will take large portion of your proposal. So I just give them the opportunity to write, okay, free flow. Now, they write based on the text for a Q1 paper. So now, when the FYP coordinator is asking for the proposal, now I call the students. I say, okay, take this out, take this out, take this out. So we reduce the pages to 13 pages or 12 pages. So we have faculty version, supervisor version. So this is the guideline. Because some of the students, they have the information. So how should you waste the information? You understand? So like students is doing computational fluid dynamics, it has a lot of case studies to do. Let's say the case study alone, together with the equation, is taking like 20 pages. So will he select only few and throw the rest away? No. So this is what I don't push them or beyond the limits. It's just that when the information is there, I make use of the information. So that is my policy. Okay, so at the end of the FYP1, I just ask, okay, just take the important element for proposal should be there. So that's what we take out, and then we put to make up about 13 pages or 12 pages. Okay, and then I open a Google Drive. So Google Drive, you have to put your Excel. If you have any Excel calculation already done, you should put in the Google Drive. If you have your CATIA drawing, your FYP1, so proposal, supervisor version, then the faculty version. All this should be put in the pen drive, in the Google Drive. Okay, so sometimes the what do you call it? The problem we have this drive is that sometimes there's limitation on the storage. So I just transfer most of the information to my hard disk, okay, for my future reference. But mostly I leave them, or I expect them to put everything in the Google Drive. Okay, so this is very simple. Like my current FYP, one student, so they are 4 students. Okay, Alani, Alif, then Faris, then Shamim. So they open what do you call it, a pen and a Google Drive. I gave them a link for them to put all the information there, Google Drive. So now after the end of FYP1, so what is the student going to do? Is he going to sleep, eat, go for holiday? So I make them understand that by the time they will come back for FYP2, I expect them, those who are going to do CFD, computational fluid dynamics, they should register as early as possible, because sometimes registration is, if you don't register early, then the class will be full. Okay, so I would like to thank Dr. Faisal over here. He has been very, very, very helpful. So my students go to him most of the time for consultation. So Dr. Faisal, if you are here, I'm very grateful to you. I really appreciate all your effort. Not only him, but other colleagues also. Okay, so it is very important that we, allow the students to meet other lecturers who are specialized in the field. Okay, so then the student, before they come, they have the mindset to learn MATLAB. Okay, those who will be using Excel spreadsheet also, they should know how to do mathematical coding. So I expose them to all the codings, so mathematical models, before they leave for vacation or semester break. Okay, so when they come back, so this is where the real work starts. Okay, so I stop discussing introduction with them. So all those things from FYP1 will be stopped. Sometimes once in a while I'll just go through, but we focus on methodology. So the methodology means that we look again, we take a review of our design model. Okay, so discuss more literature with the student, avoid destructive and complicated papers in the field. Sometimes there are some papers which will distract the student. They will not understand, like triple integral. So what are you going to use this triple integral for? Okay, so just ignore these papers. You understand me? Multi-objective optimization. So this is irrelevant. So focus directly on heat transfer. Okay, papers that are on heat transfer. So that is what I normally do to my students. So we have to identify 2, 3 papers for the student to follow. So also, this information I'm going to tell you is widely used among top researchers. So if you want to publish in Q1, so you should, and there should be a way in which, let's say you identify a journal and then follow the method, the guideline, the way the presentation, the style of presentation of the journal. Yes, if you do this, you will not go astray. So this is just guiding you towards writing a very good research work. Okay, so I let the student know that you cannot write anything out of your mind. You understand? So there should be a way, there should be a guide. you should follow the previous researchers, the way, their style of presentation, and so on and so forth. And then also, one thing also over here is that sometimes I give, if I identify the best technical report of my previous students, so I give it to one of the students. So then they see that, oh, this is a very good technical report, so I have to come out with similar information. For example, student on heat transfer, I give them technical report on, let's say, hydrogen. Okay, so there is no any conflict of plagiarism here or copying. So I tell them directly that this is what I expect you to follow. Okay, so then the students know, oh, they have in their mind that this is what, it becomes a challenge actually for them. So I let them know that, okay, this technical report has already been published. Okay, so, and I'm training you towards that. If you like, if you can produce similar result like this, then okay. If not, then you just accept the fate at the seat. Then again, when you identify your design model, okay, the CATIA, CFD, okay, so now for a Q1 paper, I think 3 case studies should be enough. Okay, 3 case studies should be enough. Sometimes when we are doing FYP2 evaluation, I see that some of our students are very, very good. They produce very good result, very good design also. But sometimes they just based on only 1 case study or 2 case study. You understand me? So we should expand the level of the case studies. Let's say maximum of 3, minimum 2 should be, it should be okay. So these are the requirements for a Q1 paper. Okay. Then, like I've told you, cross-check that the dimension, yes. So now, since we are doing, since the research is solely on simulation, sometimes the students is worried, say, how do I get the dimension for my design? Okay, so I tell, relax. You should not intuitively put in any dimension, but the dimension should be, there should be a basis for selecting whatever dimension you have. So we go back and refer to the journals. You understand? So, so this is what, personally, I think it makes sense that checking or taking a particular design should be based on standard dimensions. Okay, so everything we refer back to the literature. So I advise the student to refer to journals in selecting appropriate dimensions like this. And then CFD, computational fluid dynamics, has a limitation. 1, so the number of grid elements cannot be simulated based on the size of your design. So normally I ask my students just to cut through or the symmetry. Just take a small portion of the heat sink, and that is what we are going to use for our simulation. Because if you want to simulate this whole heat sink, then it's going to take a long time. Okay, so yes, so this is going to take a long time. So I ask them to make a symmetry. They should just cut a portion of the heat sink, and then that should be our design model for simulation. Okay. Then now comes to, these are the data which is being extracted from the literature. So like the dimension of each model is given over here. Okay. And then these are the grid meshing, okay, of the computation design. So we have 3 design over here. Now, these are the requirements for Q1 paper. For you to produce a Q1 paper, there are certain elements that is expected from you, especially if you are heading towards computational simulation. One of them is validation, okay, of turbulent models available in ANSYS. Okay, the models available in ANSYS need to be validated. Because if, let's say, you mention to the editor that, okay, you use K epsilon, okay, model for your simulation. So what justification do you have for that? So I've seen that a large number of our students also used to do this type of validation. And then also you have to do grid independent tests. Okay, I'm going to show you one by one in details how to do this. Then the validation of the simulation with experimental data. So this is where the students have problems. So say we are not doing experiment. How do I get the data? So now I'm going to show you how to find all this information. Then we have to compare some of your findings with previous studies like this. Okay, so for a computational fluid dynamics, okay, like I've mentioned already, these are the models that are available in CFD. So based on this design, the student come out with this result. Okay, so based on two parameters, we have the inlet temperature, which is given by this, and the outlet temperature. Okay, and then also we have the inlet velocity and the outlet velocity. So based on this, you are going to strike out the error between each model. Okay, so then you take the smallest error. So the smallest error related to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, models is that we have K omega SST, okay, with the smallest error. So that is what we're going to use for further simulation. This is one of the important requirements for publishing high impact paper. Okay, then now there are options. So also we have grid independent tests over here. Grid independent tests also is used to identify the, let's say, how accurate your computational simulation is. Okay, so I asked the student also to do this. These are all based on CFD simulation. Okay, so you can present it in data form or in graphical form. Okay, so there is no time over here to show how to do all this information. Now, the third information is validation of simulation with experimental data. Yes, so this is where most people, especially postgraduate students, also have problem in. Now, if you do not have any experiment and you need to validate your simulation with experimental data, all that you need to do is identify a key journal or a paper that has done experiment. Okay, so the paper that I used is from Tariq ETL 2021. So they did experiment on heat sink. So we extract all the data, okay, so experimental data from this for this particular heat sink, and then we tabulated it in a table. So this also has to be presented in your paper, but with appropriate citation. Okay, so I would like to repeat over here, this is not plagiarism. This is not, what do you call it? So it's not a big issue. So as long as you cite you give citation, okay, you recognize that, okay, this data does not belong to you, it belongs to the rightful person, then there's no issue about related to this. Okay, so now the reason why we extract this data is to conduct a simulation. So we are going to do a simulation based on this particular heat sink. All right, then the result of the simulation based on this heat sink, okay, with the variable is velocity. So when you change the velocity, what will be the heat transfer coefficient? Okay, so with appropriate applied heat source, okay, then these are the results. Okay, these are the simulation results based on this particular heat sink. And this heat sink is coming from this particular researcher. So when you finish this, then we need to extract steps for extracting the experimental data. Yes, So one thing I would like to make clear over here, this data is simulation. Now I'm going to show you how to extract the experimental data. So again, you can use the same, you have to use the same journal or the same publication, okay? Then these days, there are a lot of websites or let's say links which you can use for extracting experimental data. One of them is Graph Reader. So when you type Graph Reader in Google, it will come out, and then you just click on. When you click on Graph Reader, it will show you this web page. So from this web page, you have to upload. You have to first of all, in this journal, I did crop this result. There is a heat transfer coefficient and velocity. So you see over here, PPFHS. This is experiment and simulation. So we are going to extract only this experimental data. Okay, so when you cut this, you save it on your laptop, and then you have to upload it on this web page. So it is going to appear over here. So when you do that, then the next step, when you upload it, it will appear in this form. So you have to upload this, choose the file. When you select the file, then immediately you select from your directory. And then the next thing is it will appear like this. So this is the experimental graph that we have, which whose information we want to extract. So now you have to carefully adjust this circle line so that it will cover all the demarcations or the boundaries of the X and Y scale. Okay, so when you do that, then we are now going to choose, select the, now we will have the Y-axis, the maximum or the minimum value for the Y-axis is 300 and 1,100. Okay, so 1,100. Then for the X-axis, we have 2 and 8. So now appropriately, you just key in all those parameters. For high, Y-axis, this is the value. For low is this. And then the X and Y-axis is given, sorry, X-axis is given by this. Then carefully, you need to click on the what do you call it, the points that you are interested in. We are interested in the experimental result. So you click on it carefully. Just, you click on one by one. So eventually it will appear like this. When you finish, now you just click on generate curve. When you click on generate curve, it will appear like this in this form, and we'll have our data over here. So this is the experimental data that I'm interested in. So this is the velocity, and this is the heat transfer coefficient. So you can import this into Excel, and then you can manage it and plot as and when you like. So now, the experimental data that I just extracted, for example, is given by this. Okay, and we have for the experimental data is this, and this is the simulation. So now we are going to see what is the difference between the experiment and the simulation. So now we're going to use this MAPE. So this is an equation which is widely used in determining percentage error. All right. So you can, now during your presentation, you can present it in the data form like this, experiment and simulation, or in graphical form. Okay, so most literatures, they accept both. And others also, they tell you, okay, I'm interested in only the graph. So you just present the graph. All right. So for my student, they present this, the experimental data, and then the simulation. Okay, so this is very, 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 very important in validating your research paper. Okay. Then if you have the data available now. These are the results that you are going to report when you are writing your discussion. Okay, so this is the percentage error for the validation that you are going to report. So these elements that I have discussed now are very important for your result and discussion. So now, after the validation, students to proceed now to produce results for existing case studies. So the existing case studies, my students have 3 case studies. Okay, so case study number 1, number 2, number 3. Sorry. Then they need to present the results. Also, one thing also I would like to mention over here. Sorry. When the students are presenting their results, allow them, guide them to, produce similar, this heat sink. Okay, so in a similar fashion. So this is not a copy-paste work. Okay, so I have my own design. The journal has its own design. I'm just following the style of presentation. So this is how it goes. So that's the secret behind it. And in some cases, you read through the pages or the paper. You see the discussion that the journal presents, and then see how it matches your own. Okay, so this is how normally I ask the students to present their findings. Okay, so you should identify a very important journal, 1 or 2 journals which are related to the field, give it to them, or you first discuss with them and give to them, and then they are going to present the same style. Okay, then so since we do not have too much time, so I think I have over here some first draft, second draft, third draft of FYP, technical report. Okay, so when the students have submitted all the, let's say, or has completed the result. Okay, so first I ask them to copy all the information from FYP1 into the technical report. Okay, for example, the introduction, literature review, the methodology, equations, everything should be ready. Okay, so from FYP1, we have yes. So this is the first version of the technical report, okay, for FYP1. So they have to copy everything, okay? So this forms the first version of the technical report. So you see the number of pages. Again, over here, I do not restrict the number of pages for the student. Write as many as, and you discover that when you do that, it gives you the flexibility. Next time, when the student is reporting the thesis, it becomes very easy. He only needs to copy and paste whatever he has written. If he has, let's say, about 50 pages technical report, so you just need to add the FYP1 to it, and then you can present your thesis. Okay? So, and this is the first version of the technical report. So you see that the result and discussion, these are the guidelines. So these are the preliminary results which I expect from the student, green independent, validation, thermal performance of each design. So that no discussion over here. Okay, so this is FYP1, which has now been copied into the first version of the technical report. Now, the second version of the technical report is to put in all the information related to the simulation. Okay, so you see that the number of pages will be increasing like this. Okay, so this is all from FYP1. And yes, so now the methodology states, now I've seen some text messages inside the methodologies the student has started writing, okay, though may not be completed, okay? So this is the first version, second draft of the of the technical report. So all equations, everything should be within the technical report. Okay, there is no wastage over here. So all the information is there. So you see that the result now, there are no discussions for the result. So the result, just copy and paste. After you do the simulation, you just put inside your technical report. And the next version of the technical report, that's the third version, is given over here. So over here also, more revision will be done to it, okay, until, and I have the final version, okay, the fourth draft, which is given by this. Okay, so if you refer to this, this is about 53 pages. Okay, so this, you only need to follow the guideline for the thesis, okay, and then you don't need to import any new material from outside. No, this is not the right thing to do. Okay, so if the student submit, let's say about 13 pages or 14 pages of technical report, and then it is going to be difficult again to write a thesis. Now, student will be forced to be copying paste other foreign materials into the thesis. So, which for me, I think is not professional. Okay, so the student, I give them the flexibility to write as many as you can. Okay, so 53 pages, I think is more than enough. Okay, so this will be conveniently converted into your thesis. Okay, for your academic submission. Okay, so now when this is done, if this is the technical report, then again, like I've told you, now for FYP2, sorry, yes, now I have the faculty version, and then I have my own version. So the faculty version, this is a typical example, okay, for FYP. Okay, so this is another example for technical report from my FYP student, Paris. Okay, so this is about 44 pages. So this is the supervisor version. And then I have the student version. Sorry, the faculty version. See, this is 14 pages. Okay, so for these 14 pages, it's enough. So it provided it has all the right content, okay, right information, okay, to be presented, then fine. Then the student will proceed and then submit for the faculty. All right. So then again, yes. So now, content of technical report to be copied and pasted into the thesis, and making sure that the student follow the guideline given by the coordinator. So this is the final version of the thesis for the student. Okay, so just follow the guideline, problem statement, okay, objective of the thesis, everything should be done. So this way it makes it easy for me, so that I don't need to review this thesis in details again. I only need to check the technical content, okay, information from FYP1 is already there, information from FYP2 is also there already. So, but again, I need to cross-check the result. So sometimes the students are not able to write the result in a very qualified way. So I need to review again and over and over and again. Okay, so I think, yes, so these are some of the important output for my, let's say, my research. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, so there are so many publications from Q1, okay, from FYP, which has been completed, and then also won some award, gold, silver medal for competition. All these are from FYP1. Okay, so I think I'm done with the presentation. So now over to you, Dr. Manaf.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Al Hassan, okay, for that insightful and inspiring sharing. I believe all of us have gained valuable knowledge on how to strategize our FYP for impactful publication. We are going to open the floor for Q&A session, and participants are welcome to ask questions directly, or you may also write them in the chat box. Okay. And I noticed here that there's one question from YouTube actually. Okay. The question is from Yaqub Yusuf. Okay, how many meetings you sat with your student?
How many?
How many meetings you sat with your student?
Normally, based on, let's say, the output of the student, maybe the first 2 weeks. So every day they need to come. So let's say I give them maximum 2 hours, minimum 1.5 hours. So meeting. So every week. So once per week. Once per week. Okay, so once per week. But at the end of the FYP, when people are rushing, students submitting this, not completed, my result, so please check my validation, is it correct or not? Okay, sometimes I just ask them to come for the second time. Okay, so sometimes 2, 3 times we meet. Okay, especially when the rushing hours, when they are rushing to submit their work. So let's say the last 3 weeks of the semester, I really give maximum time to them. Sometime after I go home after Maghrib. So pray in the faculty. So this is the sacrifice we need to give to our students. And this is to motivate them for postgraduate. But unfortunately, our students, most of them are not interested. And Dr. Jamal, Professor Jamal, he is my main motivator behind this. I'm saying this clearly. So he has been pushing me and write Q1 paper. Dr. Aman also has been there. Whenever I read my student technical report, he said, why don't you submit this to Q1 paper? Okay, so there are some motivations here and there, and I'm very grateful to Prof. Jamal for his encouragement, especially going for contesting for competitions. Okay, so so give maximum time. If one thing I discover about the student, if you relax, they relax. If you say, okay, go and do this and bring the result, he'll relax and go and do it. And you do any shoddy work. But if you sit down with them and then you tell them what you expect from them, they will definitely do. And the serious ones, mashallah, they are able to produce good results. Okay, so I'll say that for the first 2, 3 weeks, maybe once in a week, I meet them, and sometimes I meet them in a group. Okay, so just when we are in the fundamental stage, and at the last stage, I just call them one by one based on their individual input. Okay.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, from the floor. Yeah, Prof. Jamal.
Yes. Impressive. That's the word that I can say. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And I strongly believe that whatever you said is true. I mean, that if you want the student to work hard, the supervisor should work harder. Right?
Yes.
So if you relax, the student will relax. Okay, I have two requests from you, 2 things from you. The first one, whatever that you have written just now, your plan, you put it into a documentation form, you copyright, and then you go for idea again. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
It's a flow. So whenever it's a flow, you can make it as like a framework or something. You copyright, give it a name, and you go for competition.
Thank you, Prof. Okay? Thank you, Prof.
And then also from what your experience, I think that the flow, so to make it more detailed, you can write a book.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
The third one is just my suggestion. Looking at those students, because I think they are good students, and since they have published one, that they managed to publish, but in my case only published like 2 of Scopus Index. Still, I think they are eligible to have a master's degree at least. So in my case, what I did was for those.
Does he need mic or no need? Do you need? Maybe for the audience to hear. I think just take the
Okay. So in my case, for students like this, if you think that the student is good, right? So once they finish that kind of thing, um, we promote them to register for masters. Okay. So if they register for masters in October, and before that they can even prepare one conference paper and one journal article plus the thesis. I saw that it's already like 15,000, 12,000.
Yes.
Okay, later on they just continue it. Before they get the job, they can just prepare until 20,000 words. So that means is that once they register for the masters at October, actually they have all the requirement for masters already. Okay, it's just that. It's just that the main thing that student they need money.
Yes, yes.
So is the effort of the supervisor and co-supervisors try to sponsor them, but it's not a big amount because for masters one semester 1,500. Okay, so my students last year they registered in October, and last month August they already submitted. So just 9 months and 2 semesters. So I spent for them one semester 1,500, and then the second semester 1,500, and then they also need to pay 1,000 for the fee, submission fee. So like my thinking is that when you want to employ that, because one, what I say that you have one supervisor and then you have two co-supervisors. Maybe each of you need to donate some portion of money for the student.
Okay, yes.
And since most of the work is there already, they can even do part-time. Because in my experience, 3 of my students, once they completed their final year project, they continue it with part-time. They're working outside. They register full-time, but they're working part-time. But it's not like when they did for the last batch, because they did it full-time, they can finish in 2 semesters. But I think in your case, really, the way they have written, the thesis is much more quality than mine. Right? I can say that. So that is the challenge. Just convince the student, because I think they deserve it.
Yes,
They deserve valid masters because they have worked hard for the FYP. And even so, if people say that how can they finish in 2 semesters? No, my argument is that no, they did not finish the masters in 2 semesters. Actually, they have done that 1 year earlier. So it's altogether almost 2 years actually.
Yes.
Okay, so that is something that you can consider.
All right.
All right. So that's only from me. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Jamal. Okay, probably, yeah, please.
Thank you, Prof, for the wonderful presentation and for sharing your knowledge with us. So although the field is an unfamiliar terrain for me, my background is in materials, but I was able to pick a lot of knowledge from what you presented. So I would like to know that in identifying the Q1, Q2 journals, is the university subscribed to maybe Web of Science for us to be able to know which is Q1 or Q2, or we just use maybe a Scopus to determine our Schemago? Then the second question is that these days, we face lots of rejection from Q1 and Q2 journals. And at times it's not because of maybe the scope or maybe the research is a sunset research. At times, tiny details like Turnitin report, the similarity index. So I would like to know your suggestion, what you tell your students to work towards, the similarity index that they always work. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With regards to the first question was regarding indexing and how to identify. And I think so far, from my personal experience, I think UITM has not subscribed, okay, for that. I don't know whether Dr. Jama, Prof. Jama, UITM, do you have any, UITM has any subscription for how to identify Q1 journal? Identify. Yes, yeah. Okay. So I think That I do not have right information on that. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, as to regards to rejection rate, these days editors are very aggressive. So when they identify any small error, they find a room to reject your work. Some cases they will say, okay, even though your work is very good, has been well written, we advise you send to this journal. So I have received such that my last applied thermal engineering paper that I published, it was rejected by almost 10 journals. Yes. So one thing I also like to share, I will give you a detail about you. One thing I would like to share about this also is that when you receive the rejection, alhamdulillah. So what I normally do, I give the same topic to the next FYP student. Then we will work based on the comments to improve the journal. So sometimes the comments are so numerous that, so I do not have the capability to finish them. Some of them, it involve redoing the simulation again. So what I'll do is that, okay, when I identify this problem, then I'll go through with the students. So the student has to do the simulation again. And you see in some of my Q1 papers, there were 2 UITM students. Okay, so the first batch who wrote the technical report, I submitted for publication and it was rejected. So I gave to the second batch. So she did improvement on the design. And then what happened is that, so just to give credit to both of them. So I gave, and I put all their names in the publication. Okay, so now to come with the plagiarism, normally before I submit my work for Q1 journals, I check, because UITM has subscribed to this Turnitin. So I just check first to see what is the percentage before I send to the journal. In some cases, when you send to the journal, they say, oh, this percentage is too high, then you need to reduce. But mostly I make sure maybe between 10, 15 percentage should be enough. Okay, so not more than 20%. Okay, so when the journal discover, if you are within the range of 10 to 15 percentage, I think it should, they will be readily have the desire to move to the next stage. Okay, so as for the plagiarism checking, and then also one thing also I would like to make clear over here, sometimes when the students are in a rush, they copy and paste. There's no doubt about that. So I have a cleaning up session. So normally, when, for example, in this semester, students who submitted their technical report, I'm doing cleaning up. So throughout the semester break, that's what I do. So write detailed results scientifically. What is the result saying? So I don't just submit when the technical report as it is submitted by the student. No, it should not be like that. So I revise everything thoroughly with scientific grounding, okay, to justify the result that you have written, and then compare with other journals. Okay, so if you submit directly, for sure, the editor will reject. So that is the nature of our student. So, and I do not blame them. It's a rush hour. You understand me? So they are in a hurry. Sometimes they need to, sometimes even they just write 2, 3 sentences for a particular page of a result. And so I accept, but I train them, let them understand the outcome of the result. And then they will go and write whatever they write. I do not push them too much. I just accept it. But at the end of the semester, I clean everything up, write myself according to the format of Q1. The introduction, starting from the introduction, I rephrase everything, okay? Problem statement, so all the what do you call it? Information which is required for introduction, I put all those details, okay? So before I submit to the journal. So, and then one thing also, please, when you are checking for plagiarism, make sure that before, when you send to the journal, you remove from the system. Otherwise, when they check it will have a conflict with them. Okay, you understand what I mean, right? So when you check your plagiarism, make sure you remove it right and then from the system, and then take the copy and send to the editor. Okay, so otherwise, sometimes they also recheck, because these days a lot of scammers are available. So they check for themselves to find out whether it is correct or not. Okay, so that's it for my answer. Yes, the tiny.
Dr. Hassan, what do you recommend for us to strategizing topics for our FYP? Whether we should put several students to focus on one Q1 paper, or we make the topic selection wider. For example, few students with few different topics, or few students with one topic, similar topic, that we can actually take up all the students' contribution to one impactful publication. That's all.
Okay, thank you. So from my personal experience, I think that grouping too many students, like 4, 3, 5 students to a particular related topic, it will not give you the right result. Okay, so focus one topic. So normally what I do is that I take one topic, for example, PEM electrolyzer. Okay, I give a topic to one student, and then alkaline electrolyzer. So these are two systems that are related. So I give that also to another student. So they will do the same method. They will going to apply the same method, the same information I expect from them, but the systems are different. Okay, so that's one thing I've identified in the faculty. Sometimes there are 4, 3 students doing similar topic. So I think in future there will be a conflict. Okay, so there will be a problem on how to manage how to write a content. Okay, so preferably, what I normally do is that I look into Q1 journals, read them very well, identify a research gap. So I'll frame a topic based on that gap and give to only one student. Yes, I'll give to only one student. I will not give to 2, 3, 4 students. Let's say I have a topic on heat sink. Heat sink, there is forced convection in heat transfer, there is natural convection. So under this case, I can give to 2 students. One student will focus on forced convection, another student will focus on natural convection. So that is enough. Okay, then it is not like this that, okay, you give similar topic and the student will just change the variables. No, I think from my personal experience, I think in future it is going to it will be difficult for you to come out with a very good paper. So the less number of students to a particular paper, the more focus you have. Okay, Dr. Aini.
Probably we can receive, 2 more questions, if any. Kalau ada.
Yeah.
You use any help from AI? Use AI?
You
or your students?
No, I never use AI, but for this semester, I identified that some of my students have started using AI. So when I tell them, oh, you use AI, then they start smiling. No, they will not tell you the truth. But honestly, all those elements of AI, I'll remove them from the report and then write on myself. Okay, so before I submit to the journal. Okay, so the AI is very good. So it helps in the understanding of the problem. You understand me? So, but sometimes our students, they use it in a negative way. Okay, so we need to be very careful. But I have not started using AI in my research. Okay, so there's one thing which I have the passion, the desire, just to learn, so that at least we will not be backward. Okay, so research is supposed to be, moving forward. So currently, I'm writing a bibliometric review, okay, paper with my PhD student, and then review paper also. So we hope to submit it within the few coming months. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Al Hassan. We have another question actually
Yes.
from online viewer, online participant. Okay. The question is, if I want to dive into the study of experimental and numerical analysis, how in depth should my exploration be for FYP student?
Okay. So for experiment and
Numerical.
numerical, yes. So if you have an experiment, I think half of your problem is solved. So you don't need to go for hunting for experimental data from anywhere. So it's very, so it's, if you, the best research is with experiment, there's no doubt. Because physically you have everything, all the data is there. You have the raw data. Okay, so now, when in most cases you combine experiment and simulation. Yes. So what I'll advise you is that identify just a few journals in your field that are doing similar thing, experiment and simulation. Just follow their footsteps. Follow their footsteps, and when it comes to detail, how detailed it is. Now, for experiment, your experimental setup should be available. Okay, your data, how you got the data analysis, everything should be there. Okay, and then also you should make validation, your simulation, and then the experiment, the validation should be there. Okay, so and then make sure the student produce as many results as you can. Maybe the experiment you can do only one experiment, but for the simulation, the student should produce more results. For Q1 paper, maybe up to 12, 15 figures. Yes, they expect from you. You understand me? If you put like 3, 4, 5 figures, there are some papers maybe it will be accepted. But these days, the editors expect, enormous amount of effort should be put in the paper. You understand? So, and one thing I would like to also mention is that in most cases, it is very easy for the student to produce the result. You just identify which variable they should change. You understand me? And then do the simulation for different variables. And then you just come out with the results. Okay, so most of my students, I groom them in a way that at the end of the day, I'll have a pool of results, okay, which can be qualified for a Q1 paper. Okay, so for experiment and simulation, you do not have much problem. Okay, so one experiment should be enough. Even doing your simulation and then validating your simulation with your experimental data in your lab also is enough. You don't need to do too many experiments. So that's one thing I would like to mention over here. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that's answer the question. Okay, probably one last question. Yeah, please.
You use the mic.
Right. My question is simple. So, do you filter your student when you want to take them as a student? No, the student have a, good CGPA, bad CGPA? Is it
Yes,
any
yes.
relationship with the
Mm.
outcome of the work?
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes. So now
you.
the secret is like this. You know, uh, when I teach thermal engineering and thermodynamics, I identify the good students among them. So when I identified them, so I become very close to them, help them also. So though maximum time is given to the whole class, but when I identified a very, very, very good student, then in the end, at the end of the semester, I'll just call them. I'll just brief them that, oh, I have this topic. So if you are interested in the FYP, please, I'm ready to support you. And I promise you, I'm going to guide you. You are not going to do it alone. Don't be scared. Sometimes the students are scared that, I'm going to do this FYP alone. So I just tell them like this, no, we will do together. So it's my responsibility to make sure that you produce a very good result. Okay, so in some cases it works. Okay, in some cases it works. And then if it doesn't work at all, and then students are coming randomly, so first thing I ask, what is your CGPA? Yes, so I'll know the topic I'll give you according to your taste. Because if you give somebody with a very low CGPA to do something very complicated, so in the end it will be a problem for you and the student as well. Okay, so for low CGPA students, I give them very simple tasks. Okay, so but up to the standard of what do you call it, Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering. And well, let's say CGPA up to about 3.5 and above. So I try to give them the tax which is related to something meaningful, something which can be published, okay, for Q1 papers like this. Okay, so sometimes it happens to me. I filter out, okay, and then and also maybe I will advise the coordinator. I think based on the sometimes you should understand the plight of the lecturer also. So sometimes if I'm, let's say if I have too many students, like 8 students, it becomes very difficult to focus. You understand me? So, well, sometimes the student population also and has to be fair. You understand me? So, in that case, it gives me a very, big challenge in the giving time to the student, especially if you are looking forward to high impact publication. So whenever I have a lot of students like that, I just relax and I give them the maximum time that I have. And then those who can have produce good result, produce. Those who do not produce, then I just leave them according to their standard. But if I have very few students, like 2-3 students, so that's where I open up full Vim and then give them the maximum time, okay, so that they can produce good result. Okay, so but prepare your title in advance. And so this is very important. Prepare your title well in advance. Know what the outcome of your title, what you want to, because if you give that, it's not like PhD student or master student, where he or she will come and then he has to go and do his research, find the research gap, do the literature review on his own like this. No, it's not like that. So for bachelor, there should be a way to help them. One of it is that you should do your personal research ahead. And if you do this consistently, it becomes part of you. It becomes very easy for you to frame a title for the student. Okay? Yeah.
We conclude that some of our students are extremely excellent.
There is no doubt. There is no doubt. Very, very, very excellent. You know, the last time I published, the student whose paper was published in Applied Thermal Engineering, she was crying. I said, why you are crying? She said, I did not expect my paper to go to the public like this. She was very surprised. So, but I asked her, why don't you come for masters? She said, "Oh, she has started working already, so maybe she will consider it maybe in future, but not now." Most of them, that's what they tell me. They say, "Okay, in future," but this is the motivation part of it, that we should, conscientize our students towards postgraduate. Okay, so that is the main the reason for grooming them into this direction.
That is hard because they already published the paper, so they have to start everything from scratch and new, right?
Exactly.
So that's why what I did was that we published after they registered. They work it out for the disease.
I see.
But during the FYP work, I don't think the work is that good.
Yes.
Once they register for master, they polish everything. They have a new look of the disease, right? And then only we set for conference and publication. So by that time, 9 months, they can submit that.
I see. Okay. So means they just when they are finishing their FYP, then you have to, and try to work with them and invite them to do masters.
If they confirm they don't want to continue to register for masters, then we will publish that.
Okay.
But if they say they have that intention,
Okay.
then because they have done work.
Lot of work, yes, lot. Understood. Thanks for your advice. Yes. Oh, okay. So it means that they will not do. I see. You mean if the student publish his or her paper, she can do. First class. I see. Okay.
Of the semester, they have something called no. Before they complete, they have one online
e-pursuit.
But in my case, I do not promise the student what they not sure what they will get. For example, let's say GIP. Even GIP, they will get only like 1 year. Even though they pursue 3 years. But the one that for sure that they can get is that you pay for the fees.
Okay.
And then they work.
Okay. But just pay for the fee.
Yeah.
Registration fee.
So they don't have to pay the monthly allowance because they are working. Right? Because the main problem with students is once they pursue the study full time, they need to pay for the salary book, the monthly pay for rent. So this is quite difficult.
Yes.
For them to manage. So halfway they will run.
So they need to work.
Yeah. So
and then
they work, they can
manage.
They manage the thing and then they submit it as a free part time.
Coming in? My brain.
Yeah. Yeah. But then those who already registered are actually eligible to apply. Okay. Probably this is going to be last question because it is from online. Okay. So Dr. Al-Hassan, okay, can you give one tip to motivate students? Because some come just to finish FYP and graduate.
So it is a very difficult task, so to motivate the students these days. But what normally I realize from the student is that even though in the beginning he or she may have the mindset that, I'm just coming to finish my FYP. Okay. But if you, the lecturer, from the beginning, you open up, spell out all the details, her expectation, you understand, that you expect from her, the guidance you are going to, the support you are going to provide for her. I think by the first, second, third week, the mindset will change. In the beginning, it is always like that. And I've also discovered like that most of the students, especially also very good students among them, they come with the intention that whatever, whatever it takes for me to just produce, finish my FYP, that's what I'm going to do. But it depends on the lecturer. If the lecturer gives more time, the lecturer gives support, the lecturer gives the information, the right information on what the student to do, I think the mindset will change. Within the first, third week, the mindset is going to change and it's going to change suddenly. So please give time for the students, okay? Maximum time should be given to them and encourage them, okay, in reading. Reading is very important. Encourage them to read. Most of them, sometimes they don't have the passion for reading. But normally, when the student come to my office, we read together in most cases. So we open the paper, read from introduction, read the methodology, and then read the results. So we read together, we discuss everything. You understand? So this, to some extent, it motivates them. And then eventually the old mindset dies out of them. And then they are finally motivated. Okay?
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Al Hassan, for the advice and tips. Okay, so Alhamdulillah, I think we have now come to the end of our session. On behalf of the organizing committee, research and innovation office, Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, I would like to thank our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Al Hassan, okay, for his time, effort, and invaluable insight. To all participants, thank you for your active involvement and attention. We hope today's session has given you practical strategies and motivation to aim higher in your academic journey. Let us continue to pursue excellent and make meaningful contribution through our research and publication. With that, I officially okay. Dalam? Oh, okay. And actually, we have attendance link. Okay. QR code. Okay, you can scan the QR code for your attendance. Okay. And with that, uh, okay. So with that, I officially conclude today's program. Okay, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.